Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Hey, what's going on, family? This is Ty from nopickspodcast.
What's up, y'all? This is Joe, No Picks Podcast.
All right, so today we're going to react to some TikTok content. So, family, apparently there's this new movement called the 4B movement that originated in Korea, right? We're going to react to some of that content, all right? So I'm going to play a clip, and Joe and I will react to it, all right?
So the misogyny and patriarchy has gotten so bad in South Korea that
white women need to chill the fuck out. I'm Korean American, so I wanted to not say anything about this, but I gotta say something. And nothing to this creator, I just stitched her. So I noticed a lot of, in my feed, I've been getting a lot of white women saying, oh, 4B movement in Korea, blah, blah, blah. Well, let me tell you, the 4B movement in Korea is nothing like the white feminism and the feminist movement in America. The cultural and the social systems and the family, how the families are run in Korea is nothing like how the families and the social structure is in America. White women have the most power, privilege, and freedoms of any women on this planet. And if you look at any relationships, as long as it's not an abusive relationship, that's a whole nother deal. But any normal relationships, if you look at it in America, women have the power. I would say white women have more power than the average white man in America. And when I see the white women trying to jump on this 4B movement, it's just like they're just trying to use women of color, like they've done historically. Historically, white women have always used women of color to get their agenda through and to get ahead, and then leave us behind. I've noticed the white women, the culture of white women in America tend to bash white men. That's because they want to be white men. They want the power, they want the money, they want the status. As a woman of color, the biggest problem in this country, in America, is white supremacy. And white women have voted Trump in twice. They've always done things to actually harm women of color and even themselves because they don't want to deal with the problem, which is white supremacy. And white supremacy is the biggest problem on this planet, in America. When I see women doing this, it's always self-serving. They just want to serve themselves ahead.
Yeah.
The problem was them.
All right, so that was everywhere, right? Not everywhere, but like there was a racial component. Then she brought in white.
Right.
All right, so I thought this one was interesting. I didn't see the whole thing, so that's why I was like, all right, we can cut it off there because like she's going on some other stuff. But I'm so curious, bro. Like I know you haven't been following the 4B movement, but like any initial thoughts on this? Because the 4B movement is this movement that started in South Korea, in Korea, where the women were like, listen, we don't want to have kids, we don't want to have families, we don't want to be in relationships, we don't want to be married, we just want to be left alone. These are certain women who were like, we want to be alone, right? But they weren't bashing men, they weren't hating men, they were just saying, we're good, like we're so good, right? But now I'm seeing on TikTok there's black women, Latinas, like all these women are coming out the woodwork talking about 4B movement. People think that Spring Drizzle is a reference to the 4B movement, and we're like,
No.
So what do you think about what she just said, bro? It was a lot.
I mean, I like the fact that she kind of called out white women for the feminism shit, because it's like, yo, y'all have. She's like, yo, y'all have the most power in the whole fucking world. She's like, what the bottom line is, y'all just want to be white men. That's what y'all want all the privileges of being a white man, except for being a man.
Right.
So, and you and I have talked about this, right? And I think that's a micro. That's the bigger thing, right? Because like white people are the dominant culture in America, and branches under it, Hispanics, Asian, black, whatever. They just want to be men, but they don't want all the responsibility that comes with being a man. So they say all this shit about how men are terrible, how this and how that, but like those same women, they got no problem being like, oh, okay, well, I want a man to pay for the first date. I want a man to pay for all the dates. I want a man to pay my bills. I want a man to do this. I want to do that. So you want all the benefits of being a man, but none of the consequences.
Right.
Right? A big consequence of being a man is that whole, yo, listen, no one gives a fuck about your feelings.
Right.
That's what men have to deal with every
Yeah.
fucking day of our lives.
Right.
Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, other Pacific Islander, no one gives a fuck about the feelings of a man. I know
Nope.
plenty of people that pretend to, but at the end of the day, they don't give a fuck. The world doesn't give a fuck. That's what
Right.
y'all don't understand. The world gives a fuck about women's feelings.
Right.
We all give a fuck. And if we don't, then we're considered bad people.
Right. Right.
Men delete themselves at far higher rates than women, but we don't even talk about that. We don't care.
Right.
If that was the case for women, it would be on TV, it would be on CNN, it would be on MSNBC every fucking day.
Right. Right. That's
But
true.
no one can, like, that's the thing that y'all don't get. Like, y'all want to be like men, but y'all don't want to be like men.
Right.
Y'all
Right.
want to say, hey, I could do this shit with men, but if there's a draft or a war, you don't want to go.
Right.
Just like we saw in Ukraine. When the Ukrainian people, not even the women, the transgenders were like, listen, you used to be a woman, you're a man now, go fight.
Go fight.
Those people were crying and fucking sobbing and making YouTube and TikToks and being like, we don't want to go. Wait, we're not really men. We're different kind of men. No. You're a man, right? You were Sabrina, now you're Sam. Here's a gun, go fight, asshole. No. We don't want that part though. You want all the fucking good things about being a man, like they say, higher wages or this and that, but you don't want none of the bad things. One of the bad things about being a man is that in your country, hey, if your country needs it, the government says, here's a gun, slap it in your chest, and you go fight and go die. That's one of the bad things, unfortunately. But you get to get all these benefits, you get to get all these amenities, and then when the bad things happen, you can just go back in your house and go put on keeping up with the Kardashians and pinch your fucking fingernails and be like, it ain't my problem.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And this reminded me of excuse me. So everything you just said, I agree with. And I don't know. Do you remember? Do you like Bill Burr at all, the comedian?
Yeah, I like Bill Burr. Yeah.
All right. Do you remember, or did you see his intro or his monologue in the beginning of the SNL that he did recently, where he was like, not recently, but like I think like last year sometime, but he basically was making a joke about his white women. He was talking about, I gotta talk about my women. You know what I mean? And like we went on this whole thing about is just like, you guys have just hijacked other people's movements and made it your own. But it's like, but how? Like you were in bed with the slave masters. You benefited from everything that they had. You benefited from the only thing you didn't have, anything that was theirs was basically yours. You know what I mean? Like you were there with them and you still wanted more. You had more rights than like black women, and you still wanted more. Yeah. And he's just like, you guys are just greedy. Y'all had it. You know what I mean? But y'all wanted more. And then what happened was they poisoned the mind of like our women of color. And then basically been like, this is your fight too. And it's like, no, this ain't our fight, because y'all already got, you at that time when it first started popping off, it's like, you guys, you have your white men. You know what I mean? They were the people who would come. This wasn't slavery anymore. This is like after Jim Crow and all that stuff though. But like still, they were like, this ain't our struggle. Y'all wanted a bigger slice of the pie. We have other issues going on. You know what I mean? We got other stuff that we had to sort through, and they basically made this fight the woman of color's fight. And then black women, of course, sipped the Kool-Aid and ate it up too. And then they fell in love with it, and then it poisoned their minds as well, and it ruined our community, and it ruined our families. Now we have black women on social media talking about, I'm supporting the 4B movement, or saying we don't need men ain't trash. Like now they're all these feminists. Like it poisoned our women. But it's like, this was never our fight to begin with. It was never our fight to begin with, right? So I thought that was interesting, and we've talked about this so many times, Ty. That's why I was like, we had to talk about this, because we've talked about how we feel like women have more rights than men now. Society has made it so that women have, in many ways, more power than men do. Like they have more power, more protection. They still want more, and they don't want equality. They want to be better. They want to be superior than us.
But they don't want to put the work in to be better.
But they don't want right.
They don't want it. Right? Like
they just want it.
Before. The only way they want to be equal is in a boardroom, is in Congress, in like executive positions. Right. They don't want to be on a fucking boat catching crabs.
Right.
Talking about some oil rig. It's an all-female crew. Oh yeah, we doing it. Or they don't want to be, on an oil rig on the coast of Alaska somewhere, talking about they don't see their family for 7 months. They don't want to do that shit, bro. They don't want to be electricians. They don't want to be. They don't want to do literally any of the things that you need to do in order to maintain a society. They just want to do, marketing, PR shit. There was this. What the fuck was it? Was it in Greenland or Iceland? I think you sent it to me, but there was a TikTok thing where it was like one of those countries, one of those Scandinavian countries was like, it was like Women's Day, right? And all the women in the country took off. So it was like,
oh yeah.
Explain it, because I think you sent it to me and I just kind of remember.
So I forgot what country it was, but the women basically wanted to protest, have a day of protest. So all of them basically didn't go to work that day. And then what they found was, in that time when all those women decided to take off work and protest and have a day of action, productivity increased. There were less complaints. The work environment was less hostile. People could work in peace. The productivity went through the roof when the women took a whole day off to protest. Yo, we gotta link the video or something, bro. But yeah, so basically, when the women took off, it was a much pleasurable experience at work.
Crazy, bro.
Yo, you're so right, bro. I remember that. Oh yeah. This was So this was wild, bro. And it's crazy how they're trying to take this 4B movement now in America. And this Korean lady's just like, what are y'all talking about? Like, don't speak for us.
Yeah.
You don't know. This is way different from the feminism that you guys practice. We don't hate men. Like, I'm glad that she dispelled all this nonsense, because this was starting to catch some momentum. Like, it was starting to spread. I was starting to see more of it. And I'm like, and once some black chick was like, this drizzle was just a reference to the 4B. I'm just like, what is this? But then I kept seeing 4B. And then I saw this shorty and I'm like, yo, she just destroyed that she killed all that noise.
Yeah.
With a simple, men didn't have to say anything. Like, the shorty did it himself. And I'm just glad that she said that, because our women just love sipping the Kool-Aid, bro. They just love sipping the Kool-Aid.
I think women, I think it's so ingrained in our culture at this point to just say like men equal bad. That it's just, no matter what you say about a man, it's going to be believed. Even if it's disproved, there are women that's like, well, if you think about it, it just like the brick lady. Well, she was proven to be a fucking liar.
Right.
But there are women even now defending her. They're like, well, if you think about it, it may not have happened to her, but it happened somewhere in the universe. And you're like, that's not how this works. You don't claim a crime because it happened to someone else.
Right.
If you get robbed, I can't call the cops and say, wait, I got robbed. They come to me and say, hey, what's the situation? It didn't happen to me. It happened to Joe.
Right.
That's not how this shit works. But to them, it makes sense, because you know what? You gotta figure out something. You gotta kind of weave it in some way, even if it doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever.
Right. Yeah. No.
What happens to me if I call the cops and say, yo, I got robbed? They come to my house and say, what happened? They call up like, yo, there's a burglar here. Well, listen, it happened to Joe in Philly. They like, nigga, get over here, bro. Like, go to jail.
Right. No, for real. And it's... Yeah, I'm telling you, man, we've been talking about this, but the tide is changing. The momentum is shifting. Like, it hasn't been a quick change of momentum, but it's happening because women are starting to feel the heat. And I think some women are starting to wake up and be like, yo, we've been lied to. We've been bamboozled. Like, we have been lied to. We bought into a fight that was not our fight. We kicked our men out of our homes. We demonized them. We didn't want to build a nuclear family with them anymore. We wanted to be independent. And now we're here. And it's just like, society is not even built to have a bunch of single mothers or women who aren't attached to families. It's not sustainable. It's just not.
I gotta disagree with you.
Yeah?
Yo, most of those women are gonna die on that fucking hill.
Yeah.
It's not in a woman's nature to look at you and say, I was wrong, I'll do better. Think about that shit, bro. It's not in a woman's nature, bro. It's not a race thing. It's not a white thing. It's not a black thing. It's not a Hispanic thing. It's not anything. It's not in her nature to say, I was wrong, I'll move differently. It's not in their nature, bro.
Yeah, I mean, okay,
it's just gonna be a lost generation of motherfuckers, and then the next people will have to learn, because they're not gonna admit that they were wrong.
Right. They're not. I can see that now. You're right. And a perfect example, I saw this recently, was an old episode. I don't know if you know their channel, but 8 at the Table, and it's like a whole bunch of black folk that come together and talk about different issues. But they were having a conversation about a chick who had 8 failed relationships, and the guy was basically being like, "Listen, At what point do you take accountability? You are the common denominator. You've had 8 failed relationships, and you can't just blame every single man and say it was their fault that that relationship didn't work. You are the common denominator. So
Right.
after all 8 of those relationships, she still wasn't taking accountability. But the women who were there and part of the podcast or whatever the discussion were basically defending the woman, saying, "Well, what if this? What if that?" And they were proving his point in real time. And it's just like this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
How do you have 8 men in your life who you have failed relationships with and not stop and think, "Yo, I have to be the problem because 8 times it didn't work out.
Right.
8 times I'm going to point my finger out and say it was somebody else's problem. At what point do you start getting introspective and say, what do I have to change to keep those men in my life, especially if that man is worth it? And it's just an example of women not taking accountability and being like, we was wrong, bro. We was wrong. You can't even tell them like, close your legs. Stop
Right.
procreating with deadbeats.
I think it's so far beyond saying that it's just, bro, it's impossible. You'll never get women to admit that. It'll never happen because it's just, there's something in women that just can't admit that they were wrong. Well, this is what I want to happen. I'm a firm believer of when people clamor and shit that they want something, you should give it to them, right? If I had a magic wand and I'm like, okay, cool. Let's say we're women. Okay, cool. We want to be in charge. We want to do all this shit. Let men take a secondary role then. For like 10 years, I will welcome that shit.
I know.
Meaning, y'all handle all the infrastructure. Y'all build all the fucking skyscrapers. Y'all handle all these fucking difficult jobs that y'all don't even realize that y'all benefit from, that y'all shit on. Y'all do all these things and let the men just go sit somewhere and just be bums and be all the things that y'all say we are and see what the fuck happens to America, bro.
Right.
See what happens to America.
I know. And they all sit there complaining about these issues on a computer that a man probably made, on the internet that a man probably created. The internet that runs through your house is going through Ethernet wires underneath the ground, underneath the ocean, connected to towers. The electricity that powers your house. The
when you
AC.
call Comcast, who the fuck comes in and installs that shit?
A dude. I've never had a shorty come and install something.
Never, bro. I've been in Philly my whole fucking life. I've never seen a woman come out. Person.
Pest control too. Anytime I've had Terminex or anything like that, it's always been a man. I've never seen a shorty come out to spray for like whatever it is or do whatever. It's always been a man. So yeah,
let them do it. Let them fucking do it, bro. Let them do it for 10 years and see what happens to America. I bet you they will come with a tail between their fucking legs. Like, listen, maybe we were wrong because y'all had to experience that shit. Like y'all, men, listen, it's not in our nature to kind of just sit back and be like, okay, cool. But yo, if we really want to like correct this shit, bro, we got to take a step back.
I know, and
just let y'all do it. Let y'all strong, independent selves do it because y'all don't need us, right? Y'all don't need. We're worthless. We're worthless organisms. So go do it yourself and see what happens.
Yeah, it just reminds me of that video of the 4 female cops who were trying to restrain one dude. And they couldn't even get him in cuffs, bro. Like it was 4 chicks and one dude, and I'm just like, some things just, I don't want to make a sexist comment, but in my mind, I'm like, this is why some professions just shouldn't be, you shouldn't have shorties do it. Like this is why if I call the cops, I want men to show up, not a group of shorties. This is why if my house is on fire, I want men to show up. Right.
If you get into an issue with your wife, y'all get into a physical confrontation, she calls the cops. She don't expect her to show up. She expects you to show up.
Right. No. Yeah. That video was hilarious though. And even when you let women into these spaces, to some extent, you got to lower the standard too. If women are in the military, a guy got to do 50 push-ups, she got to do 20. Yep. If I got to do 15 pull-ups, she got to do 5. If the equipment on my firefighter training is on my back is 60 pounds, she gonna have 30 pounds. You know what I mean? They're always adjusting it too. But I'm like, in a real life situation, that strength is going to where that strength is going to be needed, she will not have that. How's she gonna carry a body passed out on the floor from carbon dioxide poisoning or something like that, or just the fumes from the smoke in a burning building? You think a shorty gonna pick up a grown ass man and carry him out that house? You see what I'm saying? So anyway, we're going in a little bit of a tangent, but like the point is clear that women, just give them what they want and see how it functions. I'm scared of that because I'm like, I know it's gonna go to shit. So I, as a man, have to be like, listen, nigga, we ain't gonna let it get to that point because we know it's gonna be bad.
In like 4 months. We turn on our fucking light, ain't gonna be no light. We turn our water on, ain't gonna be no fucking water.
Right.
Bro, it's gonna be a wrap. But like, I think some shit like that needs to happen so they can realize like, yo, y'all talk all this shit, but there are men here taking care of the world that you take for granted.
Right.
They don't think of it. They pull out their phone and be like, oh, pull up the internet. There are men maintaining that infrastructure.
Right.
There are
Right.
men maintaining infrastructure when you fucking do your nails or when you flush your tampon down the toilet that you shouldn't do anyway.
Right.
There
The
are
fact that
men maintaining that shit, and y'all just take that for granted. Oh, we don't need men. Fuck men. What we need men for? You need men for to live your fucking life.
Did
That's
a
what
man
you need
create
men
birth
for.
control? Did a man create birth control?
Yes, a man created birth
Oh,
control.
well then, damn. I wasn't sure. I'm like,
Yeah,
damn.
a man created birth control. He gave you the ability to bang Pookie and Bubba and Jose to your heart's content.
This is wild, bro. This is wild. And now, of course, we're speaking for like Western women who are in these Western countries, these like more, because like I said, when you go to Latin America, they reject a lot of this feminist shit. They're like, don't bring that over here. We don't
Right.
want to hear about that. We don't want to see these shows. Certain
Right.
shows are banned. Like we're like, no,
Right.
we're good on that. You know what I mean? But like in America and places like America, like Canada, stuff like that, this is okay. You know what I mean? And this is, yeah, I thought this clip was interesting, bro. I just wanted to bring it up to see what your perspective was. I'm glad that you're passionate about it because so am I. And we've been talking about this so much. And just keep an eye on the 4B movement because you're going to see more of it on social media. Maybe this
Fucking
Korean
4B.
woman's perspective is going to kill that. And maybe it won't take off like it was already. But
Listen,
I don't know, man.
This is the movement I'm more into.
Drizzle, baby. Soft life, soft guy era.
Oh,
What?
boy, bro.
What?
I'm sitting
Yes.
here with my feet up, drinking a beer, doing a podcast.
Yeah, man. I should take the trash out, but you know what? I'm good. I ain't taking no trash out. No, I'm playing.
Your wife won't take out the trash? She low value. She low value, bro.
If she wanted to, she would. I'm loving this, bro. Well, listen, let's open it up to the family. What do you guys think about the clip? Have you guys heard about the 4B movement on social media? Do you guys agree with her perspective? Do you guys agree with any of her? She said a lot too. She started going into like Trump and all this stuff, and we're trying to avoid some of that stuff.
Yeah.
We just wanted to focus more on the 4B movement and feminism and stuff like that. Let us know what you guys think, man. Let us know what you do. And of course, like and subscribe. We appreciate all the engagement. We see the views are going up. We see people are communicating with us. We love it. Thank you so much for the support. And we're going to keep working. We're going to keep doing this. We enjoy it, man. We want to keep putting out content. So with that said, we good, Ty?
We good. Till next time, man.
All right, till next time.